Hey guys, Mike here. In this video, I'm going to give you another guide to Charge Blade that makes it stop feeling like doo-doo part 2. Alright, so let's get right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the infinite combo for Sword and Shield. The thing that makes the infinite combo possible is the shield thrust, which is this thing right here, shield thrust. But you can only do a shield thrust after a sword move, as most of you already know. So you could do this, and just keep doing that on repeat. That's not very DPS efficient though. So how you should do it to maximize DPS is like this. Spinning, and you can just keep doing it all over. Now, if you're hitting a solid monster part, you won't move if you keep doing that combo. For example, like this. See how I don't move there? So that allows you to keep doing it infinitely. Now you may be asking yourself, well, I don't have enough time to keep doing this, do I? And most of the time you don't. But the idea of maintaining that combo is important, and you'll see why in a little bit. So again, the reason we do that combo is because it's the best DPS wise. And the highest motion value though in that combo is actually the spinning slash. But the thing about spinning slash, which is that thing right there, is that it comes out after return stroke or after charge double slash. Now, just because it comes after those things doesn't mean it's bad. Just means it takes a little effort to get to. But again, like I said, the motion value is really good on it. And if you're hitting a lot of spinning slashes, then you're doing something right. Another good thing about spinning slash is that it effectively has no recovery. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the thing about spinning slash is that it has a guard point. Right there's the guard point. Saw that? 1, 2, 3, guard point. Anytime you see the shield in front like that after an attack, that's a guard point. Now, most of you already know this, but I'm just doing it for completeness. But guard points give you extra knockback resistance, about 1 level of guard knockback resistance, and the breakpoints for knockback resistance for guard are guard 1, guard 3, and guard 5. Guard 2 and guard 4 don't give you anything. A charged shield gives you another level of knockback resistance. So what did I mean by when I said spinning slash has no recovery? It effectively has no recovery because you can see right here, after I get that spinning slash out, I go right into the guard point. The guard point is immediately after. It's almost even during the slash. See that? Slash guard point. And that guard point allows me to go straight into defense while I'm still attacking, which is extremely powerful in Monster Hunter. Normally, most attacks for most weapons in Monster Hunter, there's an associated recovery time for every attack. But with the power of the guard point on Charge Blade, it effectively means there's no recovery. As long as I'm facing the monster's attack, I'm safe from damage. Now, guard point's really strong, and another reason why I know that guard point is really strong is because they actually nerfed it in Monster Hunter Rise and Sunbreak. They made guard point weaker, and what do I mean by that? Okay, so the reason they nerfed the knockback resistance of guard in Rise and Sunbreak is because you could, in Monster Hunter World, you can actually guard right after those guard points. So, guard point, and just guard right here. You can't do that in Monster Hunter Rise and Sunbreak. They actually put a recovery on the guard point after spinning slash before you can go into that guard. So if this was Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, it would be done, guard point, recovery, guard. And you can get hit during that recovery. So they actually nerfed it pretty substantially in Rise and Sunbreak. So if you're playing Monster Hunter World, congratulations, you have an extremely strong, overpowered guard point location that can go straight into guard like this. And that combo is really powerful. You can think of it like a defensive combo. Like everyone likes to think about attacking combos, but this is a defensive combo, guard point into guard. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is sliding slash. This thing right here. Now, sliding slash, you can slide in one of 4 directions. Left, forward, back, and right. I'm not going to do all of them. A lot of newbies and maybe even intermediate players sort of shy away from sliding slash because it's kind of complicated to use. But I would say that's true if you're using left and right sliding slashes because it's a little tricky to hit the right thing with the left and right sliding slash. So what I would propose to make Charge Blade stop feeling like doo-doo is focus only on the backward sliding slash. This one right here, it goes straight back. It goes back pretty far. It's a very good tool that pairs with the infinite sword and shield combo that I showed you earlier. So this thing, see how I keep going forward? Well, that's not a problem because I can just backtrack with sliding slash. And because sliding slash you could do after any hit in the sword and shield infinite combo, that means like I don't have to do the whole combo. I could do it after a spinning slash. I could do it after a return. I could do it after a weak. So it's very adjustable to the situation that's at hand. Say like I was hitting the head here and I started to slip past the head. I can retreat like that, keep the damage up. That damage is very high on the sliding slash. It's the same motion value as the spinning slash. So you're getting a lot of damage out of that. Not only are you getting a lot of damage out of sliding slash, you're also repositioning at the same time, which is very efficient from a combat tactical perspective. So again, all beginners should learn to use the backwards sliding slash. It is so good for repositioning and it gets you into the habit of reminding you that, hey, sliding slash is there. It's a very simple flowchart path that anyone can take because, you know, if you just keep doing the infinite sword and shield combo like this all day, then you'll be like, you get used to it, right? It's not that hard. You know, it's just Y, shield thrust, Y, shield thrust. But then you say, okay, I need to adjust here. Okay, I need to readjust, and then I can keep going with my combo. Oh, I need to readjust here. Okay, and now I can continue my combo again. Next thing I want to cover is advancing slash. At least for Charge Blade, they call it forward slash, but I'm calling it advancing slash just because I play a lot of sword and shield, right? Which is what they call it. So advancing slash, press Y and B, right? And how you should use advancing slash is a replacement for the weak slash. If you're in the scenario where you are too far from the monster and you obviously need to advance to get that first hit and start the combo. It's a great way to start the infinite sword and shield combo. So you do that, and you can just go from there. So advanced slash is an option select replacement for the weak slash. And the advanced slash is very good. The motion value is very strong on advancing slash, especially compared to weak slash and some of the other moves. And you'd be surprised, you can use advancing slash in a lot of scenarios. Like it's a very good gap closer. Like it's not a super large gap closer. That's actually Charge Blade's biggest weakness, is that it has no real good gap closing options, but it's pretty decent. It has a really high motion value and you can use it in many situations, like, okay, like there where I just need to gap close, or say the monster moves a little and I need to turn and reach its head or something like that and get a short gap closer in. Now, I said earlier that you want to always use the backwards sliding slash, or at least get in the habit of using it for readjustment. But there's one more scenario I would add as sort of a bonus, and something you should try to get used to too, is the forward sliding slash. This is a really good gap closer as well. I think it's a little bit more than the advancing slash. But again, you can only do it after an attack. So this is good for when you want to start your infinite combo, monster moves though, and you need to gap close. And again, you have that same strong motion value of the spinning slash combined with very strong gap closers, so it's good for continuing the combo when you need to gap close. So once you're comfortable with the backward sliding slash, again, try to prioritize getting comfortable with the backward sliding slash. Then you can start to incorporate the forward sliding slash. And then before you know it, you'll actually start to find opportunities where you can use the left and right sliding slash, which I don't think you will use as often as the backwards sliding slash, but because you've conditioned your muscle memory to start using sliding slash, you will start to see opportunities for left and right sliding slashes to keep that damage up. All right, the last thing I want to talk about is charging your sword like this with the condensed element slash. Now, some people will say you shouldn't charge your sword because it's not DPS efficient, and I highly disagree with that, because the damage is still pretty good. But the thing is, to do all that right there takes about 5 seconds, which is quite long. So the DPS probably isn't as high as other options, especially like axe options that you have at in your moveset. But the thing about the charged sword is what comes after. So a lot of the benefits to charging your sword come after the condensed element slash that you do right here. So I charge my sword, and now what comes next is where the magic happens. Now you can see you get little extra ticks of file damage every time you land a sword hit. Now, all you have to do to decide if charging your sword is worth it is whether the total damage of the condensed element slash hit and the extra file hits that you do on the monster is greater than 2 damage exchanges or damage opportunities that you get on the monster. And if that is true, that it is definitely worth it to charge your sword. I actually don't think it's that hard to get in that extra damage with your charged sword, because you want to stay in sword and shield more often than axe mode because you have the shield. The shield is like your strongest defensive tool, so you always kind of want to stay here unless the monster is toppled. Then of course you go into axe mode, savage axe, all that stuff. But with the charged sword, you get that file damage, it adds up, and if that total damage that you got while the sword was charged is about equal to 2 damage exchanges, then it was worth it. Another thing about the charged sword is you can potentially get a topple that way. So topple and CC is the strongest way to get damage output in the game for any weapon, so it is definitely worth it from that point. That's another boon to the charged sword. Last thing about charged sword, it gives you Mind's Eye as well. So Mind's Eye is really good because it prevents anti-damage. And what do I mean by that? So it prevents you from bouncing, basically. Because if you bounce, once you bounce, you basically gave up that exchange. There's no more damage you can do on that exchange. It's basically a combo interrupter, and it could potentially lead to you getting hit, which will guarantee that you don't get damage in on the next exchange as well, which further hurts your DPS. So Mind's Eye is actually very, very strong. Another thing about Mind's Eye ability, which prevents you from bouncing, is that it prevents you from bouncing while you overcharge your files. All right. Now, I actually don't think it's that hard to keep your files charged for Charged Blade. Like, I find myself, I'm overcharging my files more often than trying to get them charged. You can see I overcharge my files here. Because I have a charged sword, I am not bouncing at all. I can just keep attacking. That's actually really strong. I can just keep holding this overcharge for as long as I want, as long as my sword is charged. And then when I finally get a good opportunity to charge my files, then of course I can charge my files. It's another benefit to Mind's Eye. So you have those 3 benefits. You have that extra file damage. You have the ability to topple and CC, which is the strongest form of damage accumulation in Monster Hunter, and preventing you from bouncing by hitting hard monster parts, and preventing from bouncing from overcharging your files, which may happen. All right, this has been the guide to Charged Blade to make it stop feeling like doo-doo. I will probably make a part 3 later. Subscribe if you're interested. Thanks for watching.